ANDERZÉN.
Alright guys, if you watched the C55 coilover install, you heard me talk about my wife pulled up. There was a strange noise going on. We've isolated it, we think, to the power steering system. And chances, hopefully, fingers crossed, is it could be from the reservoir itself. There's an internal filter. This is actually the way that I bought my ML55 for cheap, because the people believed that the power steering pump was bad when it turned out to be just the reservoir and the filter being clogged. So this has been on my mind to do, and luckily I actually had power steering reservoir in the trunk already. So factory one, brand new from Mercedes. Look at that AMG stamp and everything. So you can see, if you can see the white in there, there you go. So that whole white filter right there is all kind of on the bottom. That allows the fluid to go through that bottom hose. So that is what gets clogged over time or just deteriorates and could be the cause of this noise. So we'll find out. The other thing I got is CHF 202. Now most people say run the CHF 11S, I believe it is, the green bottle of Pentosan, but this is actually backwards compatible, and it's the updated version from Pentosan, and it's half the price of the CHF 11S. So use what you like, but this is what I'll be using. So let's go ahead and get into it. So there is the little pump hoses that have to come off. This go to the secondary air injection. You'll need to get this little hose off of the clip back here, and then be careful with the Torx little bolt that holds it too. And then when you're pulling it up, you got to be careful, because the common thing is you can accidentally hit the thermostat and crack that little plastic piece on there. So I'm going to try to be very careful when I'm pulling it up so I don't hit that, because I don't want to have two things go wrong at once right now. So I'll be gentle. And as always with ML63 stuff, my buddy Sam AMG already has a very good video on this. So if you want something very in-depth that shows everything right there for you, and he shows how to flush the system, go check out his video. It's very in-depth, very good. I'm going to be doing a quick version because I just want to get this done, but I figured I would take you guys along for it regardless. You guys, that is out of there. Basically just get the T30 Torx off, make sure all the little hoses are clear, and just work your way up slowly again. Don't want to break that, otherwise you'll be waiting for a thermostat to arrive. The little plastic fitting is a common failure point. Supposedly you can put like a brass MPT in them if they do break, but regardless, so you'll have to take it out to try to do that, I'm sure. Anyways, the clamps that are on here are the weird Mercedes like clip lock clamp on the top, and then the other ones that you're supposed to have the special plier for on the bottom. I'll see if we have some hose clamps in here and replace both of these, but should be able to. I could probably replace the hose too, but we'll see. I gotta empty this thing out first. All right guys, life hacks. Tilt it upside down. Fluid is pretty brown. But I did get one of the little factory clamps off without breaking it, so I could reuse it if I want to for the smaller hose right here. Basically just use a tiny screwdriver and pop it loose. Yeah, I definitely did. So I'll get the other off and then try to snake these hoses off of it. All right guys, I know you're supposed to use the special pliers for those, but I just used a pair of channel locks, little spring channel locks, and got it off. Hose is not in the best of shape. I'll see if we have something, but don't know if we have anything here. All right guys, new one is here. We're just gonna reuse the stuff we have. It's dirty, but it'll do the job for now. And most importantly, we're testing if the reservoir is the issue anyways, so let's try it out. All right guys, all you need is a Craftsman Robo Grips. Don't need the fancy Mercedes tools. But we got the top one to clip back on, bottom one's on. Low battery, ignore. And yeah, I'll put this, snake this back on hopefully, and refill it. go from there. We're not gonna do a flush, but I don't know. I guess we could have, but no. All right, guys, Mike broke something. The little clip that holds these on. They're pretty dang strong, actually. But anyways, it doesn't need it. So I got it situated in the little rubber grommets. Last thing to do, tuck the little hose back on. And there's the T30 bolt that'll go on there, and then put in the fluid, go from there. Well, guys, another one bites the dust for people that have snapped their freaking coolant hose. When I was putting the reservoir back on, this dang part of the secondary air injection pump was pressing down on the line, and of course snapped it. All right, what's the internet trickery for fixing this? Let's find out.
One eternity later.
All right, we're plugged in, ready for fluids. Can't forget that. Can't forget that. So let's pour them in. All right, guys, I think we're ready to start. I overfilled this thing, but hopefully it'll go down a little bit once I start it. I'll let Mike take the camera. A little cooling off. Did it go down?
Yeah. I can still see it.
Yeah. Heat on. Oh. Okay. Of course, tail lamp sits for one day. All right, guys, I started up again. I mean, you don't hear the noise all the time, so I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I'll report back once I get home. I gotta drive it home tonight, so I'll let you guys know if anything changes, but yeah, that's where we're at for now. All right, guys, we are back home now. I stopped to get the pizza, like I said. Hadn't heard any noise up to that point, but when I got in the car and started back up on the way home, I did hear quite a bit of like little whining, but it sounded different than before, and it sounded like the fluid could have been overfill or empty, or a little bit empty. So I actually got home and it was actually over full by quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it up right now and see if we get any noise. All right, well, we definitely still got something. I'm gonna go ahead and take it around real quick for a spin and see if it persists or not. All right, guys, well, I'm not really sure where we're at in the video, but thank you for sticking to this point and sticking with it. Basically, I got home yesterday. When I first was driving the car, no noise, but when I got back in the car, leaving the grocery store, immediately there was like noise different than what I had even heard before when we first noticed it. When I got home, the power steering was very full and was very, very dirty. Dirtier than I had thought that it was. So last night, didn't film any of it, but spent a good chunk of time basically, draining it, refilling it, draining it, refilling it until I could get it somewhat clean. But this was on like my third round and it's still not all the way clean. I mean, it's getting closer, but it's very dirty. You should be able to see through this like pretty easily, and you're not able to really. Even when I hold it up to the light, you can't really see through it. So the stuff that comes out of here is very clear, very blue. You can kind of see the color of it by looking at plastic where it's touched, but you know, it should be clearer than that. So first thing I'm going to try is, I know you guys see that in the background, hold on. I'm going to try again, finish up the fluid that I have. I bought another one. So I'm going to try to get the fluid as clean as possible by basically just using the turkey baster, draining it out of the reservoir, filling it back up, rotating the wheel a bunch of times back and forth, doing the same thing until I can get that fluid as clean as possible, and we'll see how that affects the noise. And at the end, depending if it all goes away, then we'll just stay with this. But if we're still getting some noise, then I am going to try this stuff out. This has been recommended to me by a couple of you guys. Shout out to those that responded to the post, but also from a few other close friends of mine. And there's a guy at Napa. I know it's funny to think, you know, a person at Napa, sometimes people get made fun of, the workers at auto parts store, but he's actually a super good guy. Known him for a long time, and I go there all the time, obviously, because it's right next to my house. But he is the same one that recommended the Rizlone, recommended also by you guys for the E420's stuck lifters, and he was ecstatic about me trying this stuff. He told me a story about, you know, kind of typical scenario. Customer came in years ago and wanted to fix their power steering pump, and basically, long story short, used that stuff and cured their major issues that they were having. So this and Bars power steering were the two highest recommended. Rizlone also makes a product, and because I had tried their other stuff, I was tempted to go with them on my own mostly, but I think this stuff will be fine. And most importantly, we got to get it as clean as possible first before putting this in. So I'm not going to really bore you guys with that part of the process. I'm just going to go through this. But like I said, it's filling it, turning the wheel after the car is on, you know, back and forth maybe 5 to 10 times, coming back, checking it again and pulling it, you know, siphoning it out, getting it till we can get it somewhat clear. All right, guys, this is what the current fluid looks like now. So it's definitely getting there, but still got a good way I think we can go. Okay guys, first round from right now done. I'm gonna go start it up. Let's go for it. Wait till the secondary air pump turns off so we can really hear. I mean, that's a pretty significant change actually from where it was, but let me go ahead and turn it and see what it sounds like. Yeah, we're still getting some noise. Well, I'm gonna be doing this for a little bit, guys, and I'll check. All right, guys, we gotta dive back into this thing. So my camera was full of footage the other day. Couldn't keep recording on either the phone or the GoPro, so I kind of lost you guys at a certain point, but I'll refresh the steps that I tried right now. So basically, if I take this off here, we'll see where we're at as far as fluid level goes. Pretty much right on the money. So what I did last time is I basically flushed the system with just a CHF 202, got it pretty dang clean, and that's kind of around the time that I lost you guys. And from there, it was getting better, it seemed like, when I would start it up and make the turns to kind of filter through. And then it still was making some noise, so I put about maybe, I don't know, not even quarter of the bottle of Lucas power steering fluid, leak or whatever, you know, stuff to help the whine and leaks, which we don't have any leaks luckily, but it's supposed to help the whine as well. and took it for a drive, and it was still making some noise. So last night I took a little bit more of the fluid out and put a little bit more of the Lucas in. I still probably didn't even go through half of the bottle of the Lucas. Yeah, probably about just half of the bottle. The fluid has gotten pretty clean. There is the fluid, it's kind of a different color now because the Lucas stuff is purple and the CHF is green, but it is pretty clean. What I'm gonna do right now, I mean, the Lucas stuff is kind of supposed to work over time, so I'm gonna drive it a little bit more and start it up, let you guys hear obviously where it's at right now. If this doesn't work, the last thing I'm gonna try is I'm gonna basically pull all the fluid out of the system again and slowly start putting in Valvoline Max Life with the stop leak. Reason being is the E420, actually, when I first picked up that thing, it had a very groany power steering pump, and it is definitely leaking. It still leaks a little bit from one of the lines. That's kind of hard to get to, which we'll take care of once we swap the motor. But I started using the Valvoline Max Life in that, and the pump is like no problem at all. It's butter now, and it doesn't leak hardly any. It was leaking, like I was losing basically the whole reservoir within, you know, a week or 2 weeks sometimes. Now I don't even have to fill it up anymore. So that stuff I've had really good experience with. I was a bit hesitant, to be honest, anyways, with the Lucas product. I'm not the biggest fan of Lucas products in general, and I just don't think that the consistency vibes with this system. It definitely thins out quite a bit once it mixes with the other stuff, but still it's very, very thick, and I just don't think that that can be that beneficial for a system that's designed to use such a, you know, very viscous fluid, very light fluid. So we'll start up right now, let you guys hear what it sounds like, and guess we'll take it for a drive. And if I'm not happy with how it's doing, I think we're gonna go put the Max Life in it. So I'll leave you guys here somewhere that the camera will stay still. Maybe here. Alright, so we hear the noise. The other thing I wanted to point out too, one of the idler pulleys I didn't replace when we were doing all the work on the upper part of the motor. I did replace the ribbed one, but I didn't replace the smooth one. So I have ordered the smooth one, another of the rib one for the lower part, and a belt tensioner, just in case if it's actually pulleys that are at, you know, base of the problem right now. So we'll go ahead and just see what it sounds like. Alright, so that was me starting it up, turning the wheel left and right, and honestly, it sounds better than it did yesterday. So let's go ahead, take it for a drive, and we'll see how it's doing after that, because today's the last day to record this video, so I kind of got to give you guys an update tomorrow regardless, by the end of today, on where it's kind of left at. And then hopefully you guys can help me out regardless of where we're at. All right guys, so operation wise, I mean, the steering feels fine. It never really felt weird, to be honest. But yeah, still feels smooth. It definitely maybe feels a little bit different since I cleaned up all the fluid. But overall, still feels very much the same. But really at this point, I mean, I've kind of added in enough. I need to really get it warmed up, so I should take it on a good drive right now and just listen for what I hear. And obviously with something like this, you kind of, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but you get a little paranoid and you start over listening for things and like questioning, have I heard that noise before? Is that normal? So we'll try to be cognizant but not overly paranoid. Right now though, I don't hear anything crazy, which is good. Alright guys, still cold, but this is at speed. I was definitely hearing noises yesterday in the same conditions that I'm not hearing now, so that's promising. I'll let you guys hear it once we stop here at idle. Oh, never mind. But yeah, even driving like this yesterday, 20-30 miles per hour, I was hearing some kind of whirring and whining from the front. So fingers crossed, promising so far, but got to get it fully up to temp. Still cold right now. All right, now I'll let you guys hear it idling. See if we hear anything. Again, maybe a tiny little something, but I can't hear anything right now. Talking about that that like weird paranoia you get when something like this happens with your cars. You start over thinking it, over listening, trying to examine every little noise you hear. The front end of this car is noisy in general because of the air pump for the suspension. It has like this crazy like noise that it makes near the wheel wells. So there's always been kind of strange noises from the front, not necessarily from the motor area, but nearby. But again, fingers crossed, I'm still feeling hopeful because this is better than yesterday. All right guys, we're definitely up to temp now. I've been driving around for probably 15-20 minutes. And oh my god, I almost went. Again, fingers crossed, but I'm not hearing much of anything. We'll check it once we get home. I'll drive around a little bit more, but it's looking good so far. Again, knock on wood, fingers crossed, whatever I gotta do, but I'll check back with you guys when I get home. All right, you guys, we just pulled back home. I mean, I don't want to call this too good to be true, but I mean, you guys hear anything? I think we might be good. Let's go listen to engine bay. You guys hear that? It did not sound like the power steering pump, to be honest. That sounded like it was coming right from the pulley. You guys, I think it's one of those pulleys. Listen to this real quick. Let me get that off there. No way. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, I am gonna cut it here. I'm gonna chalk it up to a partial victory. I think at the same time this all is happening, I think that the idler pulley, is actually on its way out as well. Because now that I'm getting closer and it's not happening, like, I definitely think the power steering was making noise. Like, there's no doubt. But I think that pulley was also making noise. And now that the power steering noise has gone away, that is much more obvious, because it's like an intermittent every once in a while the belt's, you know, on and the motor's rotating. You can hear that little chirp, 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 like chirping noise. And that is what a pulley sounds like when it's going bad. So I'm gonna say power steering fluid was way too dirty, got cleaned, was still making some noise. The Lucas definitely, I feel like, improved things. I'll have to keep an eye on it, and I'll give you guys an update as far as longer term, and I'll post anything in the comments in the meantime. But thank you for those that recommended that product. Again, I'm not affiliated anyway, don't really use Lucas products in general, but that one came highly recommended from not only you guys, but local guy to me, and internet as well. Was a fan favorite along with the bars. So I guess kind of solved, kind of to be continued. Power steering seems to be good. Now we got to move on to check the other things. I may, right now, this video is way too long already, so I may go take the belt off and just spin all the pulleys and see what kind of shape they're in, because that'll be a smoking gun. But I already have them ordered. They got shipped out today from FCP Euro, so shout out to them. They should be here by the end of the week, and I can get them thrown on by this weekend. We have some things going on that are going to require both this and the Elmo 55 to be up and running and able to move stuff around. So yeah, they'll need to be in action. So we got to get them healthy and in shape and ready to go. But this is way too long. Thank you guys for sticking around if you did. Appreciate you guys, and hopefully this will help somebody have a little faith in, you know, an option for trying to fix a situation like this. So we'll leave it right there. I will catch you guys on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one. Peace.